A lunchtime encounter with a constable in Causeway Bay ain't what it used to be. Freshly exonerated over allegations of brutality, which most Hong Kongers think a whitewash, the Hong Kong police fired pepper pellets at peaceful protesters this afternoon in what Amnesty International condemned as excessive and indiscriminate use of force. With the stakes inexorably rising, why would so many take such risks? Mary, a Hong Kong resident, came from the mainland when she was young, she says. That's why I know the darkness of China, and now I'm worried China will impose its values and its system on Hong Kong, she said. And so they continue to gather in large numbers in defiance of the riot police, who today conducted stop and search operations and arrested hundreds, most preemptively, on grounds of illegal assembly. Those detained were mostly young, some wearing Bruce Lee black, some in their office clothes, and children in school uniforms. These girls were reportedly rounded up at a protest in Kowloon. And here, a group of schoolgirls is chased down a street by robocops, filmed by student reporters from Hong Kong City University. And this is what it's all about. As delegates to the National People's Congress in Beijing sing the March of the Volunteers, China's national anthem, and prepare this week to impose a new catch-all sedition law on Hong Kong, Hong Kong's own Legislative Council is debating a bill requiring school children there to sing the much-loathed Chinese anthem. Last week, there was mayhem in the chamber when pro-Beijing legislators took control of a key committee, paving the way for a debate on this national anthem bill, which could see anyone found guilty of mocking the March of the Volunteers jailed for up to 3 years. In Hong Kong, the anthems regularly met with boos. Debate on the bill began today, which is why 3,000 riot police were deployed around the LegCo building. The security chief in Hong Kong's pro-Beijing administration appeared on Chinese state TV today.
As to these violent events, especially those involving terrorism, we want to strike hard. The police have become more effective in gathering intelligence, and we have new strategies so that when something happens, we can immediately bring the situation under control.
So intense is opposition to China's tightening grip that even Hong Kong's shopaholics have turned their backs on sales, and children have boycotted classes on what was to have been the first day back at school. The news tonight that US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo determined that Hong Kong no longer enjoys autonomy from China, and by implication no longer warrants special trade status, will infuriate Beijing. Pompeo described its planned security law as a death knell for freedom in Hong Kong. Such a move would have a devastating impact on the territory and will hurt China too. Hong Kong is the conduit for most of the foreign investment into and out of China. Suddenly, the stakes just got higher.
Well, for more on all that, our business and global trade correspondent Paul McNamara is in the newsroom. Paul.
Yeah, there are lots of possibles at the moment of what this could mean, very few certainties. So firstly, what's actually happened here is that every year the US has to rule by law whether or not it thinks that Hong Kong is autonomous from China. This afternoon, the US Secretary of State said no. And that's significant because the US treats Hong Kong very differently from how it treats China. That difference means about $67 billion worth of trade. All of that trade is at risk now. And if this escalates, what we could be looking at is the transformation of Hong Kong from one of the financial capitals of the world to, frankly, just another Chinese city. We could also be looking at sanctions on people. Under that same US law, it says that financial sanctions on individuals who undermine, quote, fundamental freedoms and autonomy in Hong Kong can be imposed. And of course, this could be a precursor to an escalation of a US-Chinese trade war. Or, of course, we might be looking at no escalation, and all of this might just be a warning shot across China's bow.
Thanks, Paul.